Britain's hidden crisis. This is London. A city with one of the largest financial sectors in the world. A global powerhouse built on centuries of trade and high-value services. But behind the skyline and historic streets lies a reality that millions face daily. Living here, and across the UK, has become nearly impossible. Prices keep rising. Wages stay flat. More people are homeless. Shops are robbed daily. And for many, the dream of a secure, prosperous life feels out of reach. As we look closer, the struggle is not just about numbers, it's about families working harder, yet falling further behind. The story of stagnant wages and a shrinking middle class is at the heart of Britain's hidden crisis. Let's start with income. Real wages, what people actually take home after inflation, haven't meaningfully grown since 2008. While the cost of living soars, most families are earning the same as they did 15 years ago, and that gap hits the lowest earners hardest. More people now rely on food banks than ever before. Public services like schools and transport are stretched thin. Once a beacon of middle-class stability, the UK is now a country where inequality keeps growing, dividing communities and fueling resentment. Housing crisis and homelessness. Nowhere is the crisis clearer than in housing. House prices and rents keep climbing, outpacing wages by a huge margin. First-time buyers face nearly impossible barriers without massive family support. As a result, homelessness has reached levels not seen in decades. Over 130,000 households now live in temporary accommodation, often overcrowded, damp, and insecure. Rough sleeping is more visible than ever. Entire families are stuck in bed and breakfast for months on end, and local councils are forced to spend billions just to provide emergency shelter. The reality is stark. A somber end for many families, still waiting for a place to call home. But the crisis doesn't stop at the doorstep. As desperation grows, so do the pressures on communities, leading to new challenges on Britain's streets. In the shadows of boarded-up shops and struggling neighbourhoods, a new wave of everyday crime is taking hold. Rising inequality has real consequences for day-to-day safety. Shoplifting has surged. Some of the UK's biggest retailers say thefts have jumped by over 25% year-on-year. Organised gangs target stores daily, and small businesses are being pushed to the edge as security costs climb. Street crime is rising too. Muggings and petty robberies are back in the headlines, especially in big cities. For many, the sense of security they once took for granted is slipping away. But it's not just our streets that feel less safe. The strain is spreading, reaching hospitals, schools and public services, where staff and resources are stretched thin. As fear and uncertainty grow, the pressure on the NHS and other vital services becomes impossible to ignore. The NHS, once Britain's pride, is another sign of a system under strain. Waiting lists now top 7.8 million people, an all-time high. Surgeries and treatments are delayed for months, leaving patients in limbo. Staff shortages and burnout are everywhere. Exhausted doctors and nurses struggle to keep up. Underinvestment means many patients simply aren't getting the care they need. And while taxes are near record highs, the public feels they're getting less in return. This frustration is feeding a wider sense that Britain's once strong social contract is broken. Across the country, people are left wondering if help will be there when they need it most. The NHS crisis is about more than health. It's about trust, security, and the very fabric of British society. But as people struggle to get care, another pressure is mounting: the rising cost of living and borrowing. For many, the stress of medical uncertainty is now joined by the anxiety of bills, debt, and financial strain. A new crisis that touches every home. As if stagnant wages and soaring bills weren't enough, millions now face another brutal blow: the cost of borrowing. Over the past 2 years, the Bank of England has held interest rates at their highest levels in over 15 years, aiming to fight inflation. But for ordinary people and businesses, the effects are punishing. For homeowners, this means monthly mortgage payments have shot up, sometimes by hundreds of pounds, just to keep their homes. Renters feel the squeeze too, as landlords pass on higher mortgage costs, pushing rents to new highs. For many, every paycheck is stretched thinner than ever before. Businesses aren't spared either. Small shops and restaurants, already battling rising costs, now find it far more expensive to refinance loans. Some simply can't keep up. Across the country, high streets are dotted with empty storefronts, silent reminders of companies forced to close under the weight of debt. The pain doesn't stop there. The UK's commercial real estate sector faces its own crisis: empty office spaces, landlords defaulting, and the risk of knock-on effects for banks. It's a fragile ecosystem, and every missed payment adds another crack. Higher interest rates may be necessary to cool inflation, but they're squeezing Britain's economy from yet another side. For millions, hope is replaced by anxiety about next month's bills, job security, and whether the system will bend or finally break. For some, the pressure becomes too much. Young professionals, students, and skilled workers begin to look elsewhere for opportunity and stability. As Britain's economic squeeze tightens, a new challenge emerges. The future is leaving one flight at a time. Britain is losing its young and talented doctors, engineers, creatives who see better opportunities abroad. Low wages, high living costs, and crumbling services make leaving an easy choice. Junior doctors, for example, can earn double and live better in Australia or Canada. Tech workers and creatives are drawn to thriving cities elsewhere. It's not just about money, it's about hope and a sense of progress. Many young people feel Britain is stuck, nostalgic, and out of touch with their needs. The exodus drains skills, energy, and taxes, making decline harder to reverse. When the most ambitious leave, the country loses its future. The cycle is self-reinforcing. Fewer opportunities, more departures. The loss isn't just economic, it's a loss of optimism and possibility. If those with options are leaving, what does that mean for those who stay? Britain is exporting its future, and the cost is immeasurable. As young people and talent leave, empty workplaces and silent classrooms become more common. But this is only part of a much bigger story, one that reaches deep into the nation's economy, infrastructure, and sense of purpose. To understand why, we must look beyond individuals and see the bigger picture. How economic forces, underinvestment, and national choices shape the future for everyone. All these crises, housing, crime, the NHS, are symptoms of deeper economic problems. The UK has underinvested in technology, infrastructure, and skills for years. Our railways and energy systems are outdated, productivity lags behind. Short-term thinking and political churn create uncertainty and stagnation. Inflation has eroded savings and spending power, while high interest rates squeeze families and businesses. The economic pie isn't growing, so debates over who gets what are more bitter. Social tensions are rising, and the country feels stuck at a crossroads. The challenges are structural, not just cyclical. Political will and consensus to tackle them are in short supply. The sense of national purpose is missing. We're patching up problems instead of building for the future. Britain is treading water, and the way forward is unclear. But in every challenge, there is a choice. The crossroads Britain faces today will define its future, if we have the courage to face it. Britain in 2025 feels fractured and exhausted. The gap between the postcard image and daily reality is a chasm. The weight of low wages, high rents, NHS anxiety, and insecurity is overwhelming. There are no quick fixes. These are problems decades in the making. Rebuilding trust and opportunity will take honesty and long-term thinking. The first step is to face the truth, not hide behind old images. Listen to those living the reality: the nurse at the food bank, the family in temporary housing, the graduate leaving for better prospects. Their stories are the real data. The question is, do we have the will to change course? Can we invest in people, services, and infrastructure for the long term? The alternative is managed decline, a price too high for Britain's future. Renewal starts with facing up to what we've become and deciding to do better. But across Britain, people are coming together, rebuilding, supporting one another, and daring to hope for a brighter future. Change is possible, if we choose it, together.